Hello YouTube and welcome to another Python tutorial. So in this video I will show you how to create and extract zip archives using Python. So are you ready? Let's get started. So first thing first, let's create a file here. So as you can see here, I'm using Sublime Text, but you can use whatever editor you want for typing your script. So the name of my file is ziparchive.py. So here we'll be coding the code that will actually, first of all, zip our files. So as an example, I will take two files. So here inside this directory called Python programs. So inside this directory we have actually, let's say, two images. So the first one is this one, fl.jpg, and second one is paris.jpg. Okay, so let's try actually to zip these two images into the same archive. Okay, so how we can do that? So here we'll be using actually a model or a library called zip files. So it comes by default with Python, so you don't need to install it like pip install zip file or something like that, because it's already there. All we have to do is to import it. So let's import this library zip file. Here we go. Now we'll create an object. You can call it whatever you want. So here I'm calling it zip file is equal name of my library dot, and here we'll be using a class called zip file. So as it is a class, the first letter must be capital letter. Okay, here we go. So zip file, and I will give it as argument actually the name of the zip archive I want to create. So I will call it that myzip.zip, because it's an archive that will be created. And as we'll be creating actually an archive, we'll be using the mode write, because we are writing an archive. Okay, so we have done with this first letter. Then we have to provide here the name of the files that we want to compress. So we'll be using the same object zip with the method write, and here simply we'll be given the names of the archives that we want to create, or actually the what we want to zip. So the first one, as I told you, is called fl.jpg. So let's duplicate this line here. Okay, and second one is called paris.jpg. Okay, and finally we have to close our file or object, actually close with the method close. So it's simple as that. So first of all, we're using the class here called zip file. We're providing the name of the zip file that we want to create, and here W stands for writing mode. Okay, and with the write method we'll be actually providing the names of the file that we want to compress. So let's save our file, and now let's execute it in our directory using Python tree and zip archive.py. Here we go. So here we have an error. So let's make sure what is this error. See here, you can see the model zip file has no attribute zip file. Okay, so why is that? Maybe because I have mistyped the zip file. Yes, actually the second letter must also be capital. Okay, so zip file, and first one of course it's capital Z. Here we go. Let's execute it once again. So now we have no errors. So let's go back to our directory and see if we have actually created our myzip.zip file or archive. And here it is. As you can see, it has created an archive called myzip.zip. So let's verify what is inside So I open it with extractor. Here I'm using Ubuntu, but it works also in Windows or Mac OS. And inside it you can see that indeed we have successfully created our two files, fl.jpg and paris.jpg, that are inside actually our zip file. So now let's go back to our code and let's try to enhance it. So as you can see here, we are working with files, and usually when you are using this method calls and you are working with files, you actually use what we call context manager. So let's actually here modify our code in order to use context managers. So simply we can do with keywords with zip file, that zip file as zf. Here we go. And now we can actually do this. Okay, and let's get rid of this clause. So here, using the context manager and getting rid of this zf.clause, we can create the same thing. So let's save the file and let's delete the old one. Okay, so let's execute once again our script to see if it works. Here we go, it works because I have no error. So let's verify that in our directory. And here, as you can see, we have our zip archive with the two files using this time context manager. Okay, so next thing that we're gonna do actually is how to read what is inside this my zip.zip file. So let's say that we have actually an archive and we want to see the files that is inside it. So we with the same thing, but here we'll be using this time to read mode because we are reading an archive. Okay, and let's get rid of this line here. And in order to see what is inside, or the name of the files that is inside actually our zip archive, we'll be simply using the print method. Print, here we go. And here we'll be using also a method called actually name list. So it's method, don't forget, just two parentheses and the closing one for the print method. Okay, so this simple script will actually allows us to see the name of the file that is inside our myzip.zip file. So don't forget here to add the R argument reading actually an archive. So let's save our file and let's run it once again to see what we get. And indeed you can see here in the output of our terminal we have our two files, fl.jpg and paris.jpg. Pretty easy, pretty nice, pretty simple. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is let's try to extract this myzip.zip file, because here we are just reading what is inside it. So let's say that we want actually to extract it to a directory. Okay, so also that is pretty simple. With the same script we get rid of this print because we don't want to see what is inside it, but we wanna actually extract. So let's extract all what is in our archive. Okay, so for the extract method we'll be providing as argument the name of the folder that we want to extract our files to. So let's name this folder. For example, you can name it whatever you want. Let's just name it output. So this is the name of the folder where the extracted file will be. Okay, so pretty simple, pretty easy. Let's save our script. Let's run it in our terminal here. Once again we have no error, which is a good sign that we don't actually did a mistake. let's verify now in our directory if we have indeed a folder called output which has the two files that we have extracted. And here it is. As you can see, we have here this folder called output. Let's go inside and we have actually our two files. Okay, pretty simple, pretty easy. So now let's delete actually these two files that we have compressed. So I deleted the Paris and let's delete the FL1. Okay, let's delete it, move it to trash actually. Okay, so in our script here we have used extract all method in order to extract all the files in our archive into this directory called output. But let's say that you want to extract just one file. So pretty simple. You have to replace the extract all by just extract method, and inside here you have to provide the name of the file that you want to extract. So I want to extract, for example, paris.jpg. Here we go. And by default it will be extracted into the same directory where the zip archives resides. Okay, so let's save our file and execute it to see if everything is okay. So I have no error, good sign. So now let's go to this Python programs directory and see if we have successfully extracted the paris.jpg file. Here we go. As you can see here, we have this paris.jpg file alone because we have extracted just one file from this zip archive. So let's open it, and here we go. This is the paris.jpg actually image. So that was just a brief introduction how actually to use zip archives using zip file library in Python. Okay, so as always, I hope it has been informative for you, and I want to thank you for viewing. Bye bye.